The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube. And now, thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we are syndicated and distributed to cable systems and via cable systems, serving an additional 12 million households. I'm your host, Gary Baumgarten. Well, the hype is finally over. It's time for the voting to begin, and I'm talking about the presidential campaign here in the United States of America. Obviously, we are speaking to a worldwide audience here on Paltalk.com, but you know, what happens in the United States affects everybody, no matter where they are, positively sometimes, negatively sometimes. I don't think there's anyone outside the United States who is politically astute who is not watching the campaign here. And so your comments and questions about what's going on here in the U.S. of A. when it comes to the election are as welcome as those of us who live here in the United States. So please do not hesitate to participate in today's show. Because this is a caucus in Iowa, and even a lot of Americans don't understand it, and because this is the first chance for Republicans and Democrats to cast ballots or to vote to determine who they believe their respective party nominees ought to be, giving an inordinate amount of power to the process in Iowa, way beyond the numbers of people that are represented by the population base in the state of Iowa and the electoral college votes. This has grown into massive proportion. They spent, I believe, collectively $25 million, the highest amount ever spent in Iowa for the caucuses, to make their campaigns, those who participate in Iowa, a success. Some of the candidates are sitting out the election process. Their names may be offered, but they decided that they were not going to waste their time campaigning in Iowa and are waiting for the New Hampshire primary, the Super Tuesday primaries, to put their money there because it's representative of a greater block of votes. But this may give somebody who otherwise may not be considered one of the front runners an opportunity to be elevated to a point where they wouldn't have been had people like Giuliani not sat out the Iowa caucuses. So it's very confusing even to those of us in the United States. And we thought that in order to kick off election 2008 on Paltalk, we would bring in a very, very qualified observer who can put it all into perspective, can give his point of view, and can answer your questions, and you can challenge him, and he will challenge you as well. So please get ready with your questions and comments. And I refer to the Reverend Jacques de Graaf, who was the National Deputy Campaign Manager for Bill Bradley when he ran for President of the United States. De Graaf is one of the United States' most articulate voices on media, national politics, strategy, and analysis. Over the years, he has honed his organizing skills in urban mayoral politics. He played a pivotal role in the high-profile Democratic races in Atlanta and Chicago and New York for mayor. His thoughtful analysis and quick, witty commentary has earned him praise with pundits and numerous guest appearances on local and national television and radio programs, including CNN's Larry King Live, Fox News's Hannity and Combs and the O'Reilly Factor, The Morning Blend over at CNN, and Hardball with Chris Matthews, where he was a featured panelist. And now the epitome of his media career, not just talking to people on cable in the United States of America, but people on the internet all around the world. We welcome the Reverend Jacques Andre DeGraff to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it is entirely my pleasure. Am I crazy, Reverend DeGraff, or am I right that they're spending a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort for caucuses in a state that, except for the fact that it is first in the nation, which has apparently become the state motto now because of this, would have very little political significance and influence on the national campaign as compared to the larger states in the nation?
Well, with this accelerated timetable and these heightened stakes, this is Iowa's moment in the sun. And in effect, for us, it's a microcosm of what's to come. And so perhaps it is nearly fitting that we slow everything down and look at it in a very small scale before we go to major media buys and look at delegate counts and electoral votes. We need to go on the retail level and come into people's living rooms and hear what America has to say.
Well, even Americans, as I suggested in my opening remarks, are confused about this. In our virtual auditorium, and we'll hear the voices of some of the people who wish to speak on mic. I'm reading some of the comments. Lelani out in Hawaii is suggesting that a lot of people still aren't sure how the caucus system works in Iowa. So perhaps, if you don't mind, could you give us a very short primer on exactly what is going on in Iowa tonight?
We seem to have a poor connection, but I'm gonna work with you. The caucus election in Iowa is really the first step in a multi-step process to select delegates. It's particularly on the Democratic side. This is the precinct level. Then they'll move to the county level and eventually to the statewide level to select the people who will select the delegates that will go to the national convention. And so in terms of the entire overall process, it's really a very, very early snapshot of where support lies. The significance in this case is it's the first time that support has to be indicated by average citizens for any of the candidates after they've been campaigning for all this length of time. So one of the things that is an anomaly about this whole situation is that it's not the same in every state. In fact, each state has its own sets of rules that have to be approved by the national party. The exciting and, if you will, and the intriguing dimension of this is that if you want to be leader of the free world, you have to pass a test. In fact, in America, we decide it's going to be a gauntlet. And the reason I think it's important is because if you look at some other places on the planet right now, when the election results don't go the way that people feel that they should go, the countries have been torn apart. Witness Pakistan, witness Kenya right now, that the elections have been things that have helped to ignite deep divisions within the country. And yet, in this country, we have a Mormon, a woman, a Mexican-American, an African-American, and a Catholic all running, and at least one candidate is over 70, all running, and we've got great diversity, and it has created this great outpouring of interest, at least in the candidates at this juncture in the road.
Well, the thing that I find encouraging about this whole system is that people who want to get involved and who are interested have opportunity. And when it comes to the primary process, whether it's a caucus in Iowa or a primary vote in another state, and I think a lot of people don't quite